Hello, this is Blue Flower Day. So, another little episode in my life. You know what? I'm going to tell y'all about I got married at 16 years of age. I didn't know what I was doing. I jumped out of the fire into the kettle. I tell you what, but I had to quit taking care of my mom's kids. I mean, I was so tired of changing diapers. Really. I mean, I've got all these little brothers, and I said, they're hers, and they're not mine, and I never want kids, so there. To myself, I was a dummy, because you really do want kids, but I didn't know that at that time. So I got married. Found this guy, and I was dating him. I met him at church. He worked for my girlfriend's daddy. He was in a bakery, and he was number one. And he was a wonderful man. He's the one that didn't tell me the truth all the time, though, about he was going to be a Christian. Liar, liar, pants on fire. He was pretending. So anyway, I married him. And then, oh my, he couldn't find a job. He couldn't do anything. Because the bakery didn't stay. So it sold out. So what are we going to do? No money, honey. And here we're living in town in one little old room. He joins the Navy. He thought, this is the answer. Well, they shipped him right out to San Diego for boot camp. And I moved in with my mom and dad. And I thought, this is it. Our life, maybe, he said, you'll get some money every month, honey, you know. And you can make it somehow or other. I was on my own, sugar. That was something. So anyway, he was in boot camp, and I got letters from him, and he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy. Next thing I knew, guess what? I was staying with his sister in New Albany, and one day I heard these footsteps coming up. She was on the second floor, and this is the truth. I heard these footsteps coming up the stairs, and I said, I don't know why, but that sounds like number one. Guess what? He knocked on the door, opened the door, and there he was. I said, what are you doing here? He said, well, me and another buddy, we went over the wall, and we hitchhiked all the way from California. He said, it was terrible. He said, but we're here, and we're safe. I said, you went AWOL? He said, well, I guess I did. I said, well, you got to turn yourself back in. He said, I ain't going to do it. I'm not going to be in the Navy. So we went to stay with my aunt and her husband, who drove a taxi cab. Barely made enough money to buy bologna sandwiches for 3 times a day. I said, this ain't working. So anyhow, my Aunt Mary and Uncle Norman says, if you don't go back and turn yourself in, I'm going to turn you in. So guess what? He went and turned himself in. And they put him on a train and shipped him back to California. I thought, well, that takes care of that. So I got me a job at a little restaurant called the Bobolink. I was a waitress, and I did pretty good at it because I like people. I do. I just love people. You know, I'll talk to the wall. I told you that, though. And my cat, she's liable to go across here any minute because there she is. You can see her ear. There, see her? She's waiting right beside me to get right in the middle of this picture. But anyway, there he was, back in San Diego, back in boot camp. Well, I kind of got tired of doing what I was doing, so I went to stay with my mom and dad for a while. Living with them, didn't have to pay no rent. And one day, I got this feeling that my husband, number one, was back in town. I mean, how could he be back in town? I pray about everything, and I prayed about that. And the Lord said, he's back in town. And he showed me right where he was. And I said, Daddy, take me to town. Take me right now. And he said, are you sure? And I said, I'm sure. I am sure. So he took me to town. I said, drop me right here. He says, well, you say you think he's here. Knock on the door and see. So I knocked on his buddy's door. They played music together. My husband played the guitar and sang. He was good. That's one thing that won me over. His music, it was great. So anyway, my twin daughters I had later, they got that gift, and they were musically inclined, and they could sing and play instruments, and went to college on their music instruments. But anyway, I opened the door, knocked on the door, and they opened, And there sat number one. He had a bottle of whiskey. They were passing it around. He was playing his guitar. I borrowed it, I guess. It wasn't his. I said, oh no, what am I going to do now? This is terrible. So we stayed with some people for a couple of 3 days. And so he turned himself in again. And they shipped him to Great Lakes. Ended up, they put him in the brig for a 6-month sentence. And so he was still in the Navy. They gave him all kinds of tests and said, oh, you're good sailor material. We're going to keep you. They kept him. So y'all have to tune in again about me going to Great Lakes. I went up there and got me a job. And we'll let you know what happens after that in the next segment. So anyhow, thanks for watching. God bless you. It's Thanksgiving Day. And we have been having Thanksgiving at my daughter's, which was wonderful. We're having Thanksgiving at a cousin's, which is great. And I'm fixing Thanksgiving dinner at my house for me and my husband and a fellow that works for him that lost his wife. So we're just having a little Thanksgiving at my house. God love you. Y'all are such sweet people. I cannot believe so many people are looking at this. But I'm real pleased. God bless you. Have a great day. I'm going to order me some scarves to wear around my neck here. Don't y'all think I ought to? Don't vote on that. Bye-bye.